Hey, Golden Flashes fans, it's time for Flash Talk with head coach Todd Starkey, brought to you by Hungry Howie's. And coach, uh, happy college basketball season. That's got to sound pretty good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's been quite the endeavor. We were just talking earlier as a coaching staff, and we've played. Our players have played one game in 9 months, and it's we're we're just going to have to go through. Hopefully, we get some games rolling here with at St. Francis tomorrow, and just get some games in. We're just gonna. It's there. Game rust is a real thing. So we're playing a St. Francis team tomorrow that's already played 4 games in 3 weeks, and so everybody's on a little different place right here in this early part of the season. So we're just excited to get opportunities to get on the court and play some.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the uniqueness, not only of the offseason and the preseason, but the season in general. I mean, this has got to be one of the most unique and challenging times in your coaching career.
Well, by far. I mean, by far, there's nothing that's comparable to it, and I think every coach that you ask would say the same thing. But I think this is also one of the most unique times in American history. You go back to, I don't know, maybe during the Vietnam War or World War II, something like that everybody is affected by something that is going on nationwide. And there's a lot of moving parts. So helping our players process that, and working through whatever's going on every day is kind of a new adventure almost. So we're working through, and then there's no guidebook for it, because this is all the first time for everybody. So blessed with a great staff here that helps me through that stuff, and our players have really, by and large, been very adaptable.
You talked a little bit about the game rust, and we'll talk about those future opponents here in a moment. But just how much different is it than a blue and gold scrimmage 3 or 4 times a week in the MAC or the Development Center, as opposed to taking on somebody that's not wearing a Kent State jersey?
Completely different, and you can't really simulate it. What a real game with refs. I mean, we've tried to get some refs in for practice. We were able to do that once. But it's tough on them as well. They're scheduled trying to, we have to, if you're going to bring refs in for a scrimmage or a practice, they have to be tested and pass those tests before you get them in. Everything is it's just more difficult. So, you just have to play the games. You have to get into games and live with some of the, there's just a process to work through, and so I think you'll see that throughout the course of the rest of December and even into January a little bit. Teams that have had an easier time and have had less quarantine time and have played more games are just going to look better, and that's all there is to it. So it's just part of it, and we've been preaching adaptability every day, and we've been trying to live that too.
Well, Coach, when we last saw you for an extended period of time back, like you said, 9 months ago, you guys were playing obviously some of the best basketball in the Mid-American Conference. Fast forward to this year, and it's a completely different style of team. You've got Lindsay Marchese, who's now eligible. You got Nyla Blackford, who's in her second year, and it's more. It seemed like a more stout presence on the low block, as opposed to a 4-out 1-in approach as you kind of took sometimes last year.
Yeah, definitely a different approach. And, if you look at it, we weren't really sure if we were going to have Katie Shoemate back for this season, because she's recovering from some off-season knee surgery, but her recovery has gone very well. And she's working her way back into her fitness. But, we lost Asia Dingle to transfer, who was our leading scorer last year. And then we lost to Megan Carter, and Katie's been, just working her way back in. So that's our starting backcourt that's been significantly affected by, one circumstance or another. So learning how to play with a little different combination of players has been what we've been about. We do have more size, which is a good thing. And we're learning how to play with that, but different combinations of players. And like I said, some of that won't work itself. You can only do so much in practice. Some of that won't work itself out until we get game minutes played and experience on the court together.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that experience, because you're playing a school that is close to my heart, my old stopping grounds of the St. Francis University Red Flash tomorrow. And this is a team, like you said, has had a handful of games already this season. It's a historically strong program. And it's a game against a local opponent. That's, I think, the most important thing. It's a game, and it's got to be excited to get out there and play the Red Flash.
You know, with the St. Francis game, it came together for us. They needed a game this week, and so did we, based on cancellations. And so we put it together at short notice. They're a team, like you said, that's traditionally been very strong in the NEC. You know, they've won 12 of the last 25 championships in that conference. You know, I just saw that statistic. So it's a strong program, good tradition. It's a team that plays very hard. You know, they've lost. They're 0-4 at this point, but two of their losses are to Penn State and Michigan State. They almost beat Duquesne, a good Duquesne team, and played LaSalle very close. So this is a very hungry team. Plays with a lot of intensity, and has some nice pieces. And we're going to have to, you know, we can't use the excuse of game rust, you know, not having played. So, you know, the ball's going to go up in the air, and we're gonna have to play better than them for 40 minutes.
Coach, how it kind of add the layer of difficulty is, like you said, the uniqueness of the schedule. Like, just from our perspective, and I know from yours, you've probably seen countless iterations of a 2020, 2021 schedule. How difficult is it that it has been so fluid and games just kind of appear out of necessity, when on top of all of this, now you're playing a team that you may have only been able to scout for a fraction of the time you would have in a normal year?
Right, and it's you know, and there's going to be some unevenness as you go through the season. You know, there's going to be a lot of circumstances that apply to a specific game, and a lot of times on the outside, people are just going to see the game and see the score and be like, oh, you know, this or that. But and sometimes it's going to be in our favor, and sometimes it's not. So it's just how it works this year. But you know, it really puts an even greater emphasis on focusing on yourself as a team, and making sure that you are continuing to get better as a group, so that when you do get a game, or whether it's short notice or whatever it is, that you're the most prepared you can be for that situation. So, you know, as we go through December, it's really kind of a proving ground, and it's a opportunity to learn about who we are. I'm more concerned about what we look like if and when we get to play in February and March. I'm more concerned about what our program looks like and our team looks like at that point than I am early on here. If we play well and we get some wins, then I'm going to be really happy with that. If we don't, we're going to figure out why and try and continue to get better. But I think our teams, if you've looked back over the last 4 going on 5 seasons now, our teams have traditionally been teams that are doing just that, playing the best basketball down the home stretch in February and into March.
Well, Coach, with that schedule, I just imagine every one of your assistant coaches and yourself just on a bevy of 3 and 4 different phones, either getting games changed or calling to try to get a game. Like, take us through how this schedule kind of gets jigsawed together as we kind of go along. Kind of peel back the curtain a little bit.
It's a whole different level of there's so many things that are distracting you from just specifically basketball. I'll give you an example. I was doing some Christmas shopping last night around 7:15. I got a call from the conference office, which is unusual, but not in this year. It's not. So, and them wanting to try and get our Ohio game scheduled that was just, you know, postponed this past Saturday. And so, you know, the conference kind of made a decision we're going to play that game. And so we've had to fit it in this week. We're going to play 3 games in 5 days now, and play them on Friday after playing St. Francis tomorrow, and then go to Toledo on Sunday. Whereas Toledo and Ohio, neither one of them have a game before they play us. So that's where I'm saying it's going to kind of look a little bit off, you know, as my mom used to say, it's a little bit cattywampus, right? So it's just things don't kind of fit, but you have to just kind of listen. This is what it is, and that's what we're going to roll with, and we're going to try and you know, win each game that's put in front of us. And the process, it just looks different. Our non-conference schedule has changed no fewer than, at this point, 20 times in the last probably 8 to 10 weeks, at least that many times. You're preparing for the unknown is what it comes down to. And that's why you have to really do a good job as a coach of trying to keep our team focused on this right here when there's a lot of really loud noise going on over here that can really pull your attention away. And like I said, by and large, I'm really proud of our players and our staff for the job that they've done. And I'm sure there's other staffs that are doing a great job around the country, but I think our staff has been, based on all the things that have been thrown at us, has done an exceptional job.
And obviously it's just adaptability, it's patience, it's a little bit of everything that you guys have kind of dealt with. So away from the trials and tribulations of college basketball this season, what have you kind of done at the end of the day? What is there any hobby, any show you've kind of picked up that has been kind of your escape?
Yeah, I have some hobbies and stuff that I do anyways. I probably just spend a little bit more time doing those things. I had I got the lights going off here for my motion thing. So there we go. Yeah, I did something that I always wanted to do and never knew I was going to have the time to do, but I rode across the country and back on my motorcycle and stopped at a bunch of national parks. And then my oldest son lives out in LA. So I went I had somebody to see on the West Coast. So I went out and spent some time with him, and then just spent time with friends and family a little bit here and there, more so than usual. Tried to reprioritize things in my life, read more, I've gotten into watched the entirety of Game of Thrones from start to finish, and have enjoyed that. And my oldest son is an actor, and he's in a Netflix series that did very well in Outer Banks. So watch that one, and then excited to watch season 2 of that come out when that comes out. So yeah, just been trying to, just like everybody else, trying to be safe, trying to continue to do the things that are important for health, and trying to continue to stay positive and lead our team and our program as we're going through these uncertain times, and just been feel frustrated at times like everyone, feel a little anxious at times like everyone, but also feel very blessed at times to still have a career and a job opportunity and a team to coach and a season in front of us.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm not a motorcycle guy, but I definitely am envious of the cross country trip. Favorite place, favorite national park you drove through?
Well, my favorite national park is traditionally been Yosemite. I did not go to Yosemite on the motorcycle trip. I actually came back up through and went to Zion National Park, and it was unbelievable. It's hard to explain the beauty of this. If you haven't been out to some of the national parks out west, it's hard to explain how beautiful it is, and doing it on a motorcycle even heightens the experience. So it was a unforgettable experience, probably the craziest and coolest thing I've ever done in my life. But it was also just a great experience, and great to spend almost a week with my son out on the West Coast and spending time with him. Now that my kids are a little bit older, it's when you get quality time like that with them, it's definitely a blessing.
Absolutely. I cherish the time I have with my father. He's more of a mentor and a friend than he is as a dad at this point in time. I'm sure you can relate to that
Sure. Yep.
And I growing up, we were the Griswolds. So I did the Arches, Zion, Grand Canyon, all that kind of stuff. And the Arches and Zion in Utah, they're really that stands out to me.
Yeah, sure. I mean, a lot of people talk about a lot of other places. Utah is definitely one of the most beautiful states we have, and it's kind of flies under the radar a little bit. But I rode into Moab as well, and up the Colorado River coming out of there, and it was just a lot of spectacular moments. I just can't even pick one on the trip. The other was riding across the desert from LA back to Las Vegas, and it was 112 degrees out. And everybody's like, well, you're on a motorcycle. It's just like riding through a blast furnace is what it is. So but riding up and down the Pacific Coast Highway was amazing too on a motorcycle. It's just a lot of beautiful places. And I just feel blessed that I had the time and resources to be able to do that and spend time with my family as well as throughout the quarantine months in the spring and summer.
Did it help you kind of as a coach at all? A lot of that introspective time as you're kind of out in the middle of just taking it all in with wilderness, or am I making too much of that?
No, I think it's important for coaches. Coaching is a demanding job. My doctor always reminds me of that, just saying, hey, you're a lot of people don't realize, that you play out your successes and failures in front of the public eye, and so you're trying to develop a group of, 18 to 22-year-olds, and it's kind of a nonstop job. There's always things to be done. So you need to make sure, and we do this with our staff. They need to have time away. You need to have things that, fill you back up, because as a coach, you're always kind of giving and thinking about, what you can do to help other people out. And you got to find things to because you get empty, you got to get filled back up with certain things. So that, it's been great to be able to have opportunities to speak with some mentors that I've had and reconnect with some of them. And once again, one of my biggest things is perspective is everything in life. There's constant change that's happening, and more so now than ever do we as people need to have the right perspective, count our blessings, rely on our faith. It's something that's important to me. And continue to tighten your circle with people that support you and uplift you. And because there's plenty of negative out there, you can find it anywhere. So, those have been all things that I've tried to focus on, and kind of get refreshed with.
Well, Coach, I know it's a busy week. We'll let you get back to the X's and O's, and we'll hopefully talk about a big 3-0 week for the Golden Flashes when we reconvene next week for some more Flash talk.
Yeah, I'm just trying to take it one game at a time. The only thing we're focused on is St. Francis tomorrow, and then we'll deal with the next one after that. So appreciate your time, and go Flashes.